the lightness of play, Zoran's thoughts wandered through the labyrinth of memory, recalling the countless lives he had encountered. Mortals, so often burdened by the weight of ambition and responsibility, seemed to forget the simple magic of play. Their laughter grew scarce, their movements rigid, their days consumed by seriousness. Yet Zoran knew that within every soul burned an ember of joy, a spark waiting to be fanned into a flame. The healing power of laughter. Zoran remembered a time when a mortal seeker had climbed his cliffs, weary and broken. The seeker had poured out their troubles, speaking of burdens too heavy to bear. Zoran, with a glimmer of mischief in his eyes, had playfully swirled the air around them, lifting fallen leaves into a spiral dance. The seeker, despite themselves, began to laugh, a sound that rang out like a bell, lightening the weight in their heart. Joy, Zoran had told them, is the balm that soothes the weary soul. Strength in play. Even dragons, with their formidable might, found strength in playfulness. In their youth, they chased the wind, darting through storms and spiraling through cascades of falling leaves. It was in these moments of lightness that their wings grew strong, their fire honed. Zoran had learned that play was not an escape, but a way of becoming whole, a dance with life itself. A mortal's forgotten joy. Below the cliffs, Bryan Johnson sat in his laboratory, surrounded by the hum of machines and the glow of data streams. For years, Bryan had dedicated himself to the pursuit of transformation, mind, body, and spirit. Yet, as his work progressed, he felt a growing heaviness, as though the lightness within him had dimmed. The demands of success had eclipsed the simple pleasures he once knew. The absence of play. Bryan's days were structured, efficient, and productive, but they lacked the spontaneity that once brought him joy. The games he played as a child, the laughter that bubbled forth unbidden, they now felt distant, like memories from another life. When did I forget how to laugh? Bryan wondered, his voice barely more than a whisper. The yearning for lightness, despite his focus and drive, Bryan couldn't shake the feeling that something essential was missing. There was a quiet longing within him, a desire to reconnect with the part of himself that danced, that laughed, that found joy in the simplest of moments. Zoran's invitation sang Bryan's quiet yearning. Zoran spoke, his voice a gentle rumble that seemed to ripple through the air, reaching Bryan's heart. Mortal, Zoran began, his tone warm and playful. Do you not see? Play is the breath of life. Without it, your fire grows dim, your wings grow weary. Dance with the flame that burns within you, and you will find your joy once more. The dragon's words were an invitation, not a command, but a gentle nudge to rediscover the lightness that still flickered within. For Zoran knew that joy was never truly lost, it only waited to be remembered. Life is not meant to be endured, Bryan, Zoran continued, his golden gaze softening. It is meant to be danced with, laughed with, celebrated. Play, and you shall find strength in its embrace. Rediscovering joy, Bryan closed his eyes, letting Zoran's words settle into his heart like sunlight warming the earth. He realized then that his work, though meaningful, had left little room for the playful spontaneity that once brought him to life. With a quiet resolve, he decided to make space for joy, not as a distraction, but as a vital part of his journey. Moments of play. Bryan began to carve out moments of play in his days. He took up activities that brought him simple pleasure, throwing a frisbee in the park, building sand castles on the beach, laughing at silly jokes with friends. Each moment felt like a breath of fresh air, reigniting the ember within. The healing power of laughter returned to Bryan's life, lightening his spirit and bringing clarity to his work. He realized that joy was not separate from transformation. It was an essential part of it, a fuel that kept the flame of purpose burning. Zoran's final musings, as the first rays of dawn touched the obsidian cliffs, Zoran unfurled his wings, their vast span catching the light in a cascade of shimmering hues. Before taking flight, he spoke one final truth, his voice carrying the warmth of the morning sun. "Play, mortal, is the breath of life," Zoran declared, his tone light and filled with mirth. "Without it, the fire dims and the wings grow weary. Dance with the flame, embrace the joy that is your birthright, and you will find a strength greater than you imagined." The legacy of laughter as Zoran soared into the heavens, his silhouette fading into the golden sky. Bryan stood beneath the morning light, a quiet smile spreading across his face. He understood now that joy was not a luxury, it was a necessity, a source of strength and vitality that fueled his journey. Zoran's wisdom echoed in Bryan's heart, a reminder that play was not an indulgence, but a fundamental part of life. In rediscovering joy, Bryan found not only laughter, but a renewed sense of purpose, a flame that burned brighter with every breath of play.